shortcut.
This episode of Kid Nation is called To Kill or Not to Kill, which is a perfectly normal and not at all terrifying title for a reality show about a bunch of kids running their own society. We're on day 5 of this ridiculous experiment, and we now find out that Kid Nation is home to 18 beloved chickens. They all tend to the chickens and fight over who gets to touch warm eggs. Gross.
That is so awesome.
Emily tells us she lives on a farm with a bunch of Mustangs and loves animals. Sounds like this 9-year-old is this episode's perfect target for psychological torture. Let's traumatize some kids. Welcome to Kid Nation, one of the most insane reality TV shows ever made, where unaccompanied minors are driven to the middle of the desert to build a society from scratch, cook for themselves, clean for themselves, run their own economy, and drink bleach for themselves off camera. Yep, that actually happened. This show was so nuts it leaves you wondering, is this the worst reality show ever made? The council reads the town journal, which of course tells them to kill all the chickens everyone loves because whoever made this show is a sociopath. So they discuss it with the town. All the other kids are busy eating terrible food with no meat, perfectly primed to take on the vegan versus meat eating dilemma that us adults handle all the time with no problems at all.
Animals are friends. People just don't realize that.
Then it comes up that if they want to do this, they don't really know how. And that's when we get our weekly reminder that Greg is not to be messed with, when he tells us he worked with a butcher and has butchered like every animal.
I butchered cattle, I butchered pigs, I butchered goats, I butchered lambs, I butchered turkeys, I butchered chickens.
Seriously, don't mess with this kid. So they put it to a vote and decide to kill the chickens. The animal lovers stage an impressive nonviolent protest and lock themselves inside the chicken coop. When I was 5, I visited a farm and I stuck my fingers in the chicken coop because my mom asked me not to, and a chicken bit my finger. It hurt. My point is, this is a suicide mission and I would never do it. They discuss it with the protesters and decide that since they've been given literally no other options for protein besides eggs, they'll kill the chickens. They don't address the fact that the show could have very easily provided those options instead of exploiting the problem they created themselves, forcing them to kill the animals they've grown to love in a highly dramatic series of events made to increase their TV ratings. But that's what makes this the worst reality show ever made. Anyway, they kill the chickens in front of everyone, cut them up, and cook them for the town. Hooray! Hang on a sec. I'm just as bad as this show for watching it, and worse for telling you about it, so I might as well exploit this to the fullest all over again. Let's go back and watch this ridiculously dramatic sequence play out for real. We start with a warning. The following scene may be intense for young children. If I am a child watching this, I am psyched. They even bring in Tarantino to guest direct this scene. Look, I gotta give them credit. They really go all out for this scene. The kids are scared. I'm scared watching. They hate that they're about to do this. I hate that they're about to do this. Maybe if we were all forced to watch the animals we eat get executed in town square like this, we'd all go vegan together and save the planet. Then again, while some of them literally run away, some seem to handle the chicken execution pretty well.
We sped up the natural cycle of life and death. We gave these two suckers a shortcut.
Damn, Jared, that's cold. So they make chicken soup and everyone's happy. Until the next morning when they're hit with the harsh cold reality that reality is cold. Like they're in the desert, so it's cold in the morning. Everything's frozen. So they take boiling water to the well and unfreeze it. Then they assemble at the giant board of capitalism, where a farmersonly.com ad gives a shout out to the sun coming out, and they go bananas for it.
Well, guys, thankfully the sun is out and it's warming up.
He tells them to get ready for their big challenge to determine their power structure for the week. That's when we discover that even when Jared says something normal, he finds a way to look badass. This is his Jeff Goldblum pose.
I do not want to lose this upper class position.
Jared rules. Hey kids, you know what else rules? Class warfare. The kids all suit up for their dystopian summer camp showdown. Youth Pastor John shows them the 45-foot water slide they've plopped into the middle of the desert.
And don't worry, guys, it's heated.
It's heated! Yay! My God, could you imagine having to ride that water slide with cold water? A nightmare. Anyway, if they finish the showdown within an hour, they get to choose between that going in the middle of town and some yet-to-be-determined alternative that probably corresponds to a basic living necessity they've been deprived of till now, because this is the worst reality show ever made. They all run a bunch of water pipes to see who can waste the most water during a climate emergency, and they don't get the reward. Turns out the other option would have been water pumps that don't freeze, so unfortunately we don't get to see the results of that Sophie's choice. Taylor and her friends hang out instead of doing work, and Greg starts helping everyone out, because just to review, the town council picks the best kid each week and gives them $20,000, and just to review, Greg's not here to make friends. Emily tries to hang out with her chicken friends again, and the chicken murderers kick her out. So she threatens to leave Bonanza. Do it! Run and get help! It's too late for the chickens. Save yourself! The town council can't decide whether to give the gold star to Greg, who does work just because he wants the gold star, or to Michael, who does work out of some naive optimism that they're not all trapped in the desert shirking child labor laws for my amusement. And now yours. Sorry. Michael ends up with the gold star and gets his one phone call to his lawyer. I mean parents. His mom says she's proud of him, but the best part is getting to talk to him on the phone. On one hand, that's very sweet, and on the other hand, why aren't these kids allowed to talk to their own parents? Is it because this is the worst reality show ever made? Yes, it is. Don't worry, that was just episode 2. Every episode of this series drove me more insane than the last, and hopefully it will ruin your life too. That's what makes it the best, worst reality show ever made. I love you, and we're in this together.